April 1st already. 59 degrees inside. It is a gorgeous day outside. Seems like there should be a joke or something in there, but for now we're just going to go with it. So I have reshot this 5 or 6 times, I think, and then things keep changing. Yeah, it's kind of funny. In the future, going forward, I'm going to try really hard to have actual productive videos and less of these walking around and showing you all the things I haven't gotten finished yet. But here we are. They don't bloom every year, but when they do, man, do they make up for it. That's got to be 16 inches, 24 inches tall, over a foot wide. Yeah, it's just monster. Pretty cool. And they are everywhere. If you see a little white dot in the distance, not every one of these is doing it, but a lot of them are. Like that one over there isn't, for whatever reason. But a lot of them are, like over half. It's pretty neat. I mean, that would be about the size of, I don't know, maybe close to a rose blossom. So, let's see, I did laundry today. I washed those in 5-gallon buckets by hand. Honestly, I mean, if I had a washing machine and power and water, I probably would go back, but it is so easy to do it. 2 gallons of water, I mean, two buckets of water, and then we're done. And it's like out here, it's so dry, it just dries instantly. So this is where the hot tub was, that black tank. I just called it the hot tub. I dug it out. I figured, okay, if the cows are going to keep coming around, if there's water for them to drink, they will come and drink it. So if there's no water, then they'll leave me alone. And so far that's proved true. So if I don't leave any water out, no cows. Okay. Well, that's pretty close. Good. Done. These little red guys are about the size of raspberries right now. And when they open, it's just going to be huge. They almost look like they're fake plastic. They're so bright. So far I haven't seen any open this year, but they're getting close. So that's kind of cool. A couple years ago I saw this and thought, okay, I'm going to keep watching it and I'll get a picture of it or a video when they actually bloom. And probably the day they were going to bloom, the rabbit came along and ate all of them. Like they were completely gone. So now I get pictures when I can. The rock garden. Some of those rocks I found on the road, you know, or randomly on the property. You know, great big guy. I mean, this one is, shoot, twice the size of a basketball. About as much as you can pick up, kind of thing. Pretty heavy. So if I ever build my rock wall, I got a good start. More flowers. I'm kind of looking at all the things that I did wrong the first 5 years, and I'm selectively fixing them. One of the examples is the laundry line, clothesline, drying line, whatever. This time of year, it's perfect going this way because this runs north-south, so east, sun is that way. So if I get out in the morning, I can get these things hung up where they're facing the sun. But in the winter, it's too cold first thing in the morning. So I probably am going to do another clothesline going east-west so that it's facing the south so it gets more sun during the day. We talked about the flex panels. I might take those down pretty soon. On the windiest days, These are on a hinge. I just roll it back and leave it up against the windbreak to protect them because they're flexible. They don't last forever. So if you need a lightweight flexible panel, these are very good. If you just want regular solar and you don't care if they're heavy, get any of the glass panels. Those should last 5 to 25 years. These will last 1 or 2 years. One of these is already putting out less than it used to. Back to the water thing. This is the IBC tank. This used to be on the opposite side of the house. I moved it over here. This is the cleanest tank right now. So as I get rain, it'll fill up. I don't have the downspout right now. That was one of the downspouts that the cows broke. So as a stopgap in between, I just put the bucket here with the nail so it doesn't blow away. And so I have caught some water in there already. So what I want to do, this is the only downspout I'm going to catch any water from for at least the next year. Again, because of the cows, the reason these got broken is there was trash cans here, and the cows would come along and they can't reach the bottom of the trash can and they get upset and then they knock the trash can over, break the trash can, break the downspouts. Okay. So far they've left alone the wood tanks. I think because in the trash can, like my mom would say, they could smell the water. So if it's an open tank, they know it's here and they come around looking for it. These tanks have lids on them, so far so good. And I also built the wood box around them, so if they break that, it's going to be some pretty serious damage. This one's still got water and the big one is still full. So this is still a work in progress, but what I was finding, these panels used to be over there, and that's on the west end of the house. The shadow from the house would hit the panels and I wouldn't get sun until about 9 o'clock in the morning. So I picked up these panels and brought them here. That puts them where the sun can hit them sooner. But this being April, that's due east and the sun is way over here. So it's actually coming up behind the panels, and now it's getting up high enough to be in front of the panels. So now the panels are working, but it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. So what I'm thinking, these panels, I'm going to move one more time, and I'm going to go kind of against tradition. Normally you aim the panels south, so they get most of the sun in the peak part of the day. What I'm going to do is take 6 of these and face them east, and 6 and face them west, because when I had the ones over the window of the house, I had 100 watts of sun at the first ray of sunshine, instead of waiting for the sun to come all the way around the house. Okay, so the sun's got to go from here to about here before I really get any sun. So facing south is technically the best because the sun is in the highest position, so you get 4 hours of peak sun. But because I've got all of the Harbor Freight panels plus all of the big black panels and the silver panels, both of these were the ones that Houston Firefox donated a couple years ago now. These are the best panels, these and those. So I don't really need these as much. So if I aim them east and west, I will get the first 2 hours of sun in the morning and the last 2 hours of sun in the evening, but these will still get the most sun. I was going back and forth. I really wanted to do some kind of a solar tracking system. The electronic side of it is pretty easy to do. That's been solved. But what I found I was really nervous about, because I've had 40-mile-an-hour winds in the last couple days. If something isn't seriously in the ground and bolted down, it's going to blow away. I've got a lot of stuff that's been broken out here. So I didn't want to have a movable solar system based on what I have right now. I could probably do it with steel pipe and concrete, but I didn't want to do it with wood and hinges or wheels or something like that. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. I've decided not to do a tracker, but if I take these guys, face half of them east and half of them west, then we get the best of both. And they don't put out a huge amount of power anyway, so it's just something instead of nothing basically the first 2 hours. The other change is we are pretty far into upgrading to lithium. Thanks, Mom. We got new batteries. So I've replaced the 4 deep cycle batteries that were out here. Now I've got 200 amp hour lithium batteries. There they are. Makes it look a lot neater in here, just half as much wire. When I've got one more coming, so that'll be 3, and I've got one in the house, which is the 4th one. That's the one I've had for a couple of years. What I'm looking to do, I bought another one of those because I've been running this one because the other good charge controller got peed on by the mice. So I went back and grabbed one of the Harbor Freight ones. Not ideal, it is what it is. All of this, now that I've got lithium batteries, I'm going to move that into the house. It'll be in the back of Tinker, basically inside this wall. And then I will redo all the wires from the panels. Charge controllers, inverters, and batteries are all going to be inside where they're safe and controlled and no mice peeing on them and clean-ish and somewhat temperature controlled. So I will probably build a insulated battery box that the batteries can be in, and then for winter I will figure out how to keep them warm enough, because you can't freeze the lithium batteries. You have to keep them above freezing. But really there's only a few days that it gets below freezing here, so that's not a huge problem. I might just put a couple jugs of warm water in the battery box and that'll keep them warm enough to not freeze. And then you just monitor temperature. If they do freeze, just don't charge them until I have time to warm up. But you can still use them. Just turn off the chargers. That's all you got to do. So it's a solvable problem. It's not a big deal. A lot of people get squinky about that. Now, if I was in minus 40 degree temperature, I would have to try harder. But then I would also heat the house, which I don't. We talked about the trike a little bit. This is the ATV trike that one of the neighbors donated. Thank you very much. The plan is to get this back on its wheels, and I'm going to power it with the 750 watt 48 volt motor that was originally for Turtle. It came with a chain drive. And what I'm thinking of doing, I've got 4 bicycle batteries, each 48 or actually 53 volts. So the testing will be, how far will this go with 1 battery or 2 batteries or 4 batteries? Okay, the other option is I could take the 4 big lithium batteries that I've got now and power this with 4 100 amp hour batteries. That should easily get to town and back. What I wanted to do was use this for going to town once in a while to haul trash, or if I had big heavy packages that I couldn't easily handle on the bike. That's changing a little bit. We'll talk about that in a minute. These tires are dry rotted. They're basically not worth even trying to make them work. And with the thorns out here, I don't think they do very well. I did find, though, that the hole pattern that these are, it's a 4-inch by 4 lug pattern. That's a pretty common trailer lug pattern. So if I go to like a Northern Tools type store or something like that and just get a couple cheap trailer wheels, I can make that work. On the front wheel, I think what I'm going to do is take the motorcycle wheels that I bought that I used on the Blue Bike electric trike. I'll put them on one of those on the front, and then we're set. I could rig it with a disc brake even. It'll be just a lot narrower, which is fine. Okay. Instead of using this to get to town, though, because the electric bike is working so well, I'm going to use this as like a little utility vehicle out here, like a tractor. So set it up more for pulling and hauling. So like there's been times where I hauled a bunch of gravel, with a wheelbarrow, 1 load at a time. I could make a bigger wagon for it and a bigger box and then shovel that full of gravel, or maybe rig up something like a 3-point hitch with a little winch or something like that. So I could scoop gravel, run the winch up instead of hydraulics, and then pull it and dump it again. That kind of thing, because that would be really useful out here. My feeling is this is not going to be very efficient for going down the road. If I think about how many watt hours it'll take to get to town, I've got a really good idea what I can do on the bicycle. So this is less useful. This is going to take me a lot of power to recharge it when I get back. Into Tinker. Oh, need some lights, I guess. It's dark. This is the bike that we got in California halfway through the 4,000 mile trip. I completely wore out the other bike. This one is set up with 29-inch wheels as opposed to the other bikes are 26s. This one, 29-inch, it rolls a lot easier. It's got the big motor that I got on the trip. Totally beast mode. I feel like I'm riding a moose when I'm on this bike. It's pretty awesome. Really well set up for doing the gravel now. So what I did, these are the skinny wheels that I use, skinny tires on the road trip. They're, you know, super skinny, good for going fast and far. I put on 2-inch wide, 29-inch tires, and these have that labeling down here says, it's upside down, but it says flak jacket. So they have pretty good thorn protection. Plus I added a thorn liner. I'll try to find a picture and pop it in here when I'm doing that. So far so good. They haven't gone flat. I've been to town a few times. These wide tires obviously go through the gravel and the sand much easier. The road is freshly graded, so it's pretty smooth, but really soft in places. So that's working really good. I've got 4 bicycle batteries. I can get to town most days with power to spare using 1 battery. So that's why I'm looking at most of the time going with this instead of the trike. This just rolls so much easier. Okay. It's still kind of set up from the trip, so it's got all my bags on it. What I did though, I almost can't see the good part anymore. The shiny black part in the middle, it's a really good quality, kind of expensive rack made for hauling cargo on bikes. The rack is rated at 80 pounds. I'm not sure if the bike is rated for 80 pounds, but at least I won't break the rack. Okay, now I'm not going to do that much, but for hauling packages home, this is going to be the way I'm going to do it. On top of the good rack, then I took some old plywood and some other brackets and stuff that I had laying around, and I made these little hard sides. So with that, find a box, hook the box on there, and then run a couple straps on it, and that should ride just fine. Okay. So again, just you got the little lip there, you put that on the lip, that'll hold it, and then you run a strap over the top, and then it won't fall off. Genius. If I ever do any more bike traveling, which I really want to do, I'll take these off, and then you can buy the actual pannier cases that clip onto that steel rack that I got. And then this up on top, this is just a military car, mechanics tool bag. And I actually screwed it onto the rack also. So I use this to put the batteries in. It's got a big thick piece of foam. So I took the bike battery, stick it in there, zip it shut, run a quick strap over top to keep it from flapping around a little bit, and we're good to go. So I might also do like I did on the blue bike. I had 3D printed these white brackets. That's for the battery. I like that. Those don't fit on this bike. It's a little bit different shape frame. So I might put the batteries back here, but I have to redo those brackets. 3D printing is a really cool technology, but it's not super practical for what I'm doing out here. In the winter, I don't have enough sunshine and it's too cold, so I would have to heat the area where the 3D printer is. In the summer, I can do it easier, but I got thinking about it. The amount of power and time it takes to 3D print, like, I think those brackets took 4 hours each, and there's 2 of them. So I really would do one day and then wait the next day until about 10 o'clock where the sun was up high enough, and then print the second one. And I've had a few things where 4 hours later you come back and the thing is all warped because it got cold. And that's not good. So one of the things I had looked at a couple of years back, this is a piece of ABS plastic. You can buy it in sheets. I actually cut these down on the table saw. It cuts really nice. You get a nice straight cut. You can heat it up and form it. I might go that direction instead. Here's one of the bike battery mounts. You can see it's hollow inside. I got it halfway through and I stopped for some reason. Anyway, so I could do this a whole lot faster. Then I got thinking, well, you know, I used to do stuff like aircraft grade aluminum and build stuff that way. And I might start going back to that, even with hand tools. There's a lot of the stuff that I used to do that you could do with, well, I mean, I've got cordless drills, and the rest you just cut and file, you know, with a hand file and stuff. So that might be a possibility. I'm like, you know, I should go back to what I actually know how to do and build pieces that way. Even if I use the scrap iron that I've got, or the steel that I got, I might do it that way. So start hand forming parts again. Yeah, anyway. So this bike pretty much is going to get me to town, and we're fine. A couple days ago, I rode to Sierra Blanca twice in one day. That was a 50-mile day. It took me 2 batteries. I had, in fact, that rack came in. So I had a bunch of groceries came in and the rack. So I brought half of it home, went back, you know, took a lunch break, and then went back and got the other half. And had I had the rack before, I could have brought it home in one time, but I didn't have the rack yet. Anyway, so I already know I can do 50 miles in a day because, you know, I just did it, but I used to do more than that on the trip. It's just a matter of I got to ride more often. The nearest town with a library for good Wi-Fi is 50 miles each way, so that'll be a 100-mile day. Or El Paso is 100 miles each way, so it's a 200-mile ride. But if I go to El Paso once in a blue moon, get a room when I get there, then we're set. Get a room, recharge the batteries, take a shower, buy your stuff the next day, that kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Hopefully new, exciting, wonderful things are coming. Not sure what they are yet. Honestly, I've been spending the last month kind of in burnout mode and reevaluating everything I'm doing. I'm like, well, what have I done that's worked in the last 5 years? You know, you look around and it's crickets. It's like, all right, nothing really worked that good in the last 5 years. So it's a good time to start over and try again, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.